Hey everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to learn how we can paint Calla Lily flower. In previous video I have shown you how we can draw all these flower into different perspective. So if you want to refer to this video you can get a link into the description section. I'm using 320 GSM watercolor sheet cold pressed and I have already created my composition. As you can see I have created two flower, one closed and one little bit open in different direction having different perspective, and two leaves behind it. You can create your own composition. If you know how to draw all these flowers you can create your own compositions easily. I'm going to use two size brush, that is size 12 round brush and size 6 round brush for smaller and bigger element. So let's start with the painting. So I'm going to start with this particular flower, keeping the stamen intact. I'm not going to touch the stamen until end. So I'm going to use wet on wet technique to paint these flowers because we need different notes of color, and using wet on wet it's quite simple to paint something like this. When I say wet on wet, it's very important to learn how much wetness you need into your sheet, because there are multiple ways to paint. You can keep your sheet wet, you can keep your sheet damp. Damp means not too dry, not too wet. So how to check? You can tilt your sheet a little bit to check how much sheen in your sheet, and accordingly you can add water into it if needed. I think my sheet is quite on the drier side, so I'm adding a layer of water again into it. So you can also do the same thing just to check whether your sheet is damp, wet or dry. Now I think I'm good. I'm using cool red color and I'm adding all the red color around the edges of the upper area of the flower. Because your sheet is damp, this will spread a little bit around the edges and you will get little softer edges at the end. And mixing two color is quite simple when your sheet is damp. So for this particular flower I'm going to use red and orange color. So you can create orange color mixing yellow and red together and create your own orange if you want to. And I'm also adding little bit dark shade of red around it. And because my sheet is damp, I can mix these two color easily. I'm keeping the inner area little lighter, so with the help of clean brush and damp brush again, it means not too wet not too dry brush, I'm trying to blend the color a little bit in the inner area, but I want to keep that area lighter and brighter as compared to the other areas. I'm mixing orange and red together with each other, and I can do it easily with the help of damp brush. And if you end up having too much darkness in the inner corner, you can lift color with the help of dry brush technique. So dry your brush and try to lift some color from that particular section. So just try to blend the color into the inner section, keeping things little lighter as compared to the other area. If you feel it is too much dark, then you can also lift some color from the inner area and from the petal area as well if you want to. Let me show you one. Lift some color like this and you can see you can get a little lighter shade, lighter node in that particular area. So this is something you can do. Now I want dark shade in these areas, so I'm adding the dark pigments of red and orange in between like this. And make sure you're not forming any hard edges, so keep blending the colors. And I'm also adding little concentrated color of dark at the tip of the petal to create a fold kind of form. mixing red and orange together with the help of damp brush. If you are a beginner, it's very important to learn how much wetness you need into your sheet and into your brush as well. So this is something very important if you try to learn watercolor paintings. So explore YouTube, try to find a video wherein everything is explained about how much water you need into your sheet, and learn those things if you haven't done yet. Start with the lower section of the flower. I'm keeping the lower section little lighter, so I'm adding this slight note of red in the lower section first. You can also apply water if you want to, but you can also apply direct color as well. And then with the help of dark shade, create the fold structure left and right like this. We have already learned these things in the previous video. And then you can also blend the color a little bit if you want to, but make sure your base section and the upper section should look like it is a part of same element but in a folded form. So the flower is same, the only thing is the lower section is little bit folded. That's why we are getting different shades of color into the lower section. I'm going to show you just opposite version in the second flower, wherein we are going to keep the lower section darker. At the base I'm also adding little bit of green, so I'm adding green at the base of the flower as well, and I'm also creating stem. So little hint of green you can add at the base, not too much, and blend with the help of red color as well, because we don't want to create any hard edges again. And create stem with the help of same color. I'm using deep green color, you can use whatever color you like. Now start with the second flower. This time I'm starting with the base, so you can apply a layer of water first. Because I want to keep it little dark, so you can directly use color as well, totally fine. So first I was thinking to create the lower section with the help of pink color, then I realized this is lighter as compared to what I want. So what I did, I mixed blue and red together to get violet shade. Based on which blue color and which red color you are using, you will end up having different shades of violet. So I'm using little dark shade of violet to create the base. Meanwhile I have created the base with the help of green and the stem, but I want to keep it little dark, so I'm using the mix of blue and red together to get something like this. I am creating the base with the help of dark shade. And I think it's quite dark and I'm liking it, so let it be, let it dry for some time. Meanwhile we can create the upper section with the help of pink color. I'm keeping this particular section lighter as compared to the base section, and keeping the stamina intact because we are going to paint stamina later. So something like this you can do. Now we also need little dark hint of pink in between, so I have added something like this in between. You can form any shape like this, because anyways we are going to blend this with the help of clean water having damp sheet, because we want to keep things blended together, having dark and light notes of color without forming any hard edges into the petal. So you can blend it uh, with the help of clean water and try to create something like this. So we are seeing the dark shade, but this is blended with the lighter note as well, so something like this we needed. So I think this is okay. Now as you can see, the base is totally different than the upper area. I want to make it look like the base is also the part of the upper section, so I'm adding the same shade of violet which we have created earlier, and I'm covering the edges left and right with the same color and blending it together with the help of clean water, just to gel things with the lower section. Now as you can see, as soon as we have added the same shade of color around the edges in the upper section, it is more like having same petal folded together. So repeating the same thing for the right edges as well. Blend it if needed. Create a fold kind of structure at the tip of the petal, and we are done with the flower. You can add little bit of green also at the base. Now we are almost done with the flowers, except the stamen which we are going to do later. Now let's start with the leaf. To be frank, leaf is quite simple to paint the way I am going to show you right now. So what we need to do, with the help of light green shade, I am using light shade of sap green, and I am painting all my leaves area except the folded pattern. So we are going to create some folded structure around the edges, so excluding those area, fill everything with the help of lighter shade of green. You can choose any green for the lighter shade first. So I'm done with the lighter area. Now with the help of dark shade of green, I'm creating this folded structure. So keeping a zigzag flowy pattern at the edges. As soon as you add these dark note of green, you can see the folded pattern into the leaves. We are going to repeat the same thing for the second leaf as well. Flowy kind of structure around the edges for both the leaves. You can do a little bit here as well if you want to. And you can see the folded pattern now clearly visible because of the lighter and darker note of the green. Now I am creating a line in the middle based on your leaves perspective, and I don't want any hard lines, so I am blending it with the help of clean water. So if you blend it a little bit, you will get soft line instead of very visible line in between. I repeated the same thing for the second leaf as well, and I'm happy with the leaves now. Now let's finish this flower with the stamen. So for the stamen I'm using yellow color for one, and for the other I'm keeping it white, but we cannot keep everything white, so that's why I'm using a little bit of gray shade in between. And we we are done with today's painting. Hope you have liked this video. I'm hoping this video is helpful for you guys. To let me know if you have any feedback for me, and thank you so much for watching my videos. See you guys in the next video.